Next on Worcester News Tonight, Central Mass deals with its first storm of the winter. And police are on the search for 2 armed robbery suspects in Worcester. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tim McCone. The snow has stopped, but the conditions are still wreaking havoc across Central Mass tonight. This is from earlier this evening in Auburn. The fire department tells us crews responded to a head-on collision on Oxford Street at Inwood Road a little before 5:30. 3 people were transported to area hospitals. Their conditions are unknown at this time. The area was shut down while emergency personnel worked, but it has since been reopened. As the cleanup continues, many are wondering how this year's winter will compare to last year. Our Andy Madison takes a look at the early impact.
It was a sound echoing throughout Worcester all morning. Snowplows at work.
First one of the day. I just woke up, just came out. We have about 5 to 6 Papagenos in Worcester and then in Holden.
The first snowfall of the winter season didn't add up to much on the ground, but did bring a wintry mix drivers had to deal with during the morning commute.
The ice, yeah, the sleet, definitely. I mean, the snow's not very much at all, but the ice on top of it, that's a killer.
I just popped into 4-wheel drive, and I mean, I saw a few people getting stuck, but nothing too bad.
Across central Massachusetts, the weather caused several accidents throughout the day. State police were especially busy on the turnpike, clearing accidents in Auburn and Grafton.
We actually just had a friend have some car trouble, so we had to pick her up because her car broke down. So we just did that, and now we got to bring her to work.
Crews had an eye on the streets and the temperature, with plows covering as much ground as possible while dealing with a mix of snow, ice, sleet, and freezing rain.
It's a little wet. I wouldn't, I'd like it a little more fluffy, easier to push, but it's not bad.
I hate it. It's beautiful when it first falls, but then after that, everybody gets panic-stricken. Everyone's lived in New England all their lives, and they just panic.
Love it or hate it, winter is here. Andy Madison, Worcester News Tonight.
Slippery conditions in Boxborough caused this fiery plow crash this morning. The police department says the driver was cleaning a private parking lot when he spun out and his plow caught fire. Fortunately, he was not injured. Kids are already on break across the region, so no snow day today, but many children were hoping to make the most of the fresh powder. Unfortunately, the conditions didn't really cooperate. Our Olivia Lemon has more.
Snow quickly turned to slush Tuesday morning, changing some people's plans for the day.
It's not just snow, it's also snowing like ice.
Many kids, like 6th grader Harry Zenon, were hoping to sled instead of shovel.
I'm helping my mom pick the snow because it's kind of like hard and icy.
I would prefer nice fluffy snow, and the kids want to make a snowman and they can't, so they're a little disappointed about that.
Harry's mom, Edwina Gallivan, says shoveling is tough since the snow turned into freezing rain.
I would rather snow, not slush. It's a pain to drive in, it's a pain to clean off.
Oh yeah, this is heavy. This is not stuff I want to move today.
Kevin Ward also spent the morning shoveling his driveway. He says he's sad to see the warm weather go, but knows this is how New England weather is.
Winter's here, we got to deal with it. Stay safe and try and have fun.
Meanwhile, Harry says he will keep wishing for more snow.
The snow gets bigger and not too big, just normal, like a foot, so we can build a snowman.
Olivia Lemon, Worcester News Tonight.
Today's storm also did a number on flights in and out of Boston's Logan Airport. Hundreds of flights were delayed. More than 100 more were canceled. And that left some passengers stuck. Our Catherine Sotnick has more.
Shot from above at Logan Airport shows throngs of people waiting in line at Terminal A. A domino effect from the winter weather being felt across the country. At last check at Logan Airport, there is about 340 delays and more than 120 cancellations.
I think it's delayed by about an hour right now.
Okay. Do you think it will get worse? Or?
I know it'll get worse.
And why is that?
Because they always delay more than once.
Patrick Salisbury got stuck on the tarmac with his wife and 2 young children in Baltimore.
We got stuck in the plane initially for like an hour just waiting in Baltimore, which was rough because they didn't have any air conditioning on, so it was probably 95 degrees.
I'm just stuck.
Another passenger is now stuck alone in Boston for the night.
They still won't give us an update of what's going on. I missed my connection in LaGuardia to go down to Fort Lauderdale. I won't be in Fort Lauderdale until tomorrow.
Also making things difficult, Logan is under an airport weather warning because of Tuesday night's freezing drizzle. Planes have to be de-iced. The concern, freezing rain can affect the lift of the planes if they're left untreated. Massport says in addition to the de-icing, which is done by the airlines, they have to take care of the runways, which takes time. Others like Kathy Frank heading back to Cincinnati say it's been smooth sailing. She's in the minority.
It's been great. Rental cars, everybody's been fabulous. Time's been great. No problems.
The MBTA experienced some minor delays this morning due to today's snowfall. Could this be a sign for what's to come for the transit system this winter? Alicia Palumbo explains.
The MBTA had its first true test of the season with Tuesday morning snow, sleet, and freezing rain. The T's new equipment and procedures were used to try to keep the transit system running smoothly.
What we've learned is that even a small event requires this level of attention.
MBTA GM Frank DePaula says the new storm desk, currently staffed with 3 employees dedicated to troubleshooting storm-related incidents, was able to shift resources quickly when the Red Line had an issue with old switch heaters at JFK UMass.
They handle all the storm-related incidents and reach out and deploy the necessary people to address those. It's allowed these folks to concentrate on delivering the service.
And workers were also deployed when these articulated buses got stuck in the slush on Clarendon. Even this minor accident with this car on the Green Line was cleared fairly quickly with buses deployed in the meantime.
As it went through the red, it cut off our train, and our train struck it. Fortunately, there was no injuries. It was a automobile accident with a train. It was cleared and we got the system going.
Commuters were understandably skeptical, but hopeful the T can put most of the problems that plagued it last year in the past.
I feel like things happen, but at the end of the day, you know, we're paying money for it, so it should be on point. That's the way I see it.
We'll believe it when we see it.
Hopefully better than the last few winters, you know.
T officials say they'll take what they learned today and apply it to future storms, and they say if it was a larger storm, they would of course call in more outside contractors. At the JFK UMass station in Boston, Alicia Palumbo, Worcester News Tonight.
For commuters that didn't use public transportation, this was their first time dealing with the elements in months. Our Patricia Nicholas met with some experts to get some tips on how you can stay safe in harsh weather.
The snow has finally arrived, but before residents hit the road, AAA says it's important to make sure your cars are cleaned off.
Too many people, even this morning where we only got a little bit of snow, were driving around with the windows still partially covered. If you can't see, you're not going to be safe on the roads.
And once on the road, AAA's John Paul says in these conditions, slower is better.
Speed up slowly, slow down slowly, make all your steering, turning, do it nice and slow. Anytime you do something quickly, either stopping, starting, or steering, you're more likely to get into a skid.
When living in Worcester, it's hard not to encounter a hill. AAA says going up a snowy hill can be tricky.
Get your momentum going at the bottom of the hill. So you really needed to speed up at the bottom and just use your momentum to get up over the top of the hill.
As the snow and slush melt and refreeze, black ice can become a problem. It's often not visible and can cause unsuspecting automobiles to lose control.
So the best thing to do is anticipate where it's going to be, and that's going to be places that are not being warmed up by the earth or warmed up by the sun. So bridge overpasses and underpasses are very dangerous. Intersections can be dangerous just because a lot of melting goes on in intersections.
Patricia Nicholas, Worcester News Tonight.
A fire breaks out in Grafton Tuesday afternoon. The 3-alarm fire damaged a home on Cross Street. The fire started in the basement, and firefighters were able to contain it to that portion of the house. No injuries were reported. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. Worcester police are investigating an armed robbery that took place Tuesday morning. It happened at the Lincoln Street Dollar Store around 9:30. Police say the clerk at the store told them 2 male suspects armed with handguns entered the store. The men demanded cash, cigarettes, and scratch tickets. The men made off with the items and an undisclosed amount of cash. The suspects are described as a Hispanic male in his early 20s, around 5'9", and a black male around 5'10", wearing a hooded sweatshirt and mask. The investigation is still ongoing. Police in Worcester are also looking for whoever fired off multiple gunshots in the city Monday afternoon. The department says the gunshot detection system known as ShotSpotter notified officers to the incident around 1:30. They responded to the area of 772 Main Street but were unable to locate any victims or suspects. Officers spoke to residents who said a white sedan with a sunroof was seen leaving the area after the shots were fired. Anyone who may have information is asked to contact Worcester PD. In Mansfield, police have arrested a man for causing a crash that shut down Route 195 for several hours last night. 22-year-old Damian Hainline of Wyndham is facing a number of charges, including operating under the influence of drugs or alcohol.